All right, welcome everyone. So today we have Albert Liu. He is with Audacious Fitness and Audacious Running. So super excited to have him on today just to chat about fitness, running, and kind of his whole take on that thing and sort of his approach to helping everyone. So welcome, Albert. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Mike, for having me. It's a real pleasure.
So let's just get a little background about you. I know we were chatting just a little bit before we recorded, but can you kind of share your journey like into the fitness industry, sort of what led you to establish Audacious Fitness and then Audacious Running? Did they come together at the same time, or was it like one then the other?
Rewind back to October 17th, 2011. I took my first CrossFit group class, and it consisted of a bunch of wall ball shots, and I got destroyed. So, like, okay, I need to do this. The impetus of going to that class was I knew I was going off to Air Force Officer Training School. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, I need to get in shape somehow. And there was another classmate I had in college. He was still in college like a year after me, and he was in the Army ROTC. And back in on Facebook back then, he was posting pictures and videos of him doing CrossFit. So I reached out to him like, hey, so what's this CrossFit stuff you're doing? Maybe it might help me on my next career thing, right? And so he said, join me at the gym sometime. So I joined that day and then started from there. So I took classes for 2 to 3 times a week for however many months before I left for the training. And then, yeah, showed up in Alabama in shape. It works. I
Yeah.
was able to like max out all my scores in the PT tests and whatnot. And unfortunately, that path was cut short because I got a duodenal ulcer that opened up on me then in right middle training. So I had to be cut open and sewed up and then basically
Dang.
medically discharged. So that career was cut short. I got back home, recovered over the summer, and basically found a real job after that in the fall. And then just did the whole full-time work, whole 7 to 4, get off of work, go to the gym, back to the same CrossFit gym I was at before, and just healed myself from there on out. And I'll pause there for now if you have any questions about that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's cool. I actually didn't realize you were a vet. My business partner and I are both veterans as well. Army for us. And my father-in-law is Air Force, so he gives me shit all the time about that.
I wouldn't consider
But yeah,
myself as a vet because I didn't complete any of the training. So
that's fair. But
yeah,
I mean, you made the commitment, right? Just things out of your control.
sure. Thank you.
So all right, so got out of the Air Force, doing grinding, and I guess like some kind of like corporate job, I imagine something
Yeah.
something terrible.
No, not too terrible. It was at a medical device company, and I was doing
Oh,
quality assurance for them. So
okay,
yeah.
okay. But grinding there, right? And then I guess took the leap to just open your own gym. Was that kind of the next step for you, or did you like, was there something in between?
Yeah, there were a few years. So I worked at that company for call it, yeah, 4 years just about. And along the way, though, in 2014, I went and took the L1, the CrossFit Level 1
Okay.
certificate course, and then started helping my head coach at my gym out, assistant coach, all
Okay.
that, right? And started picking up classes here and there. And it became pretty regular where 2, 3 times a week, I got 2 or 3 hours of coaching too, in addition to the full-time work I was doing. And then that same year in 2014, I took the CrossFit endurance course. And in that course, I was like, I could help a lot more people with this too, with the running technique side.
Thank you.
So I ended up creating my own LLC through the city and offering these 6-week running technique training programs to just general public. Anyone who want to go to the class catalogs that the city has and sign up for a class that I want to offer at like local parks. So that
Okay.
that small micro business owner experience with that, in addition to the coaching of the gym and then the full time work, and fast forward a little bit to late 2016, where I met another coach from here in Boise, and long story short, decided to partner up together and run the gym together. And then
Okay.
that helped me pull the trigger on moving up here to start the business up here on my own property, actually.
Awesome. And so the the running thing, like, came kind of, that was first, right? And then it was to the gym, right?
It was in
Because
parallel.
oh, in parallel, okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned there, like, so that light bulb moment when you took the CrossFit endurance course. Can you talk about that a little bit? What was that light bulb moment? And we'll get into this more later because I feel like
Yeah.
as CrossFit coaches and as a methodology as a whole, which I think you probably are going to touch on, like
Mhm.
we're really not great at the running thing or coaching it anyway, right? So what was that light bulb moment during the endurance course for you?
I realized that running could be so much easier, and seeing how we were taken through the video analysis portion of the course, that most people
Hmm.
are ignorant to it, which results in all the pain and injuries and the poor relationship and experiences people have with it. And learning through that course that there's a method of teaching this. There are
Yeah.
standards, or there are points of performance, and there are faults. And as long as we follow the points of performance and not have any faults, then we should get the results we want. That we can run farther, we
Yeah.
can run longer, and not hurt. So I took that to heart. I'm like, okay, I can help out the people in my gym already. Like, turn around next Monday and go. So I tried doing that essentially, and then
Hmm.
practiced obviously on myself, improving my running, but also everyone at the gym, or as many as could there. And then I realized, okay, there's a whole larger market of that too. Runners in general who are not going to CrossFit gym. I was like, maybe I can advertise the market to them and help them out in their own journey too. That's when I formed my little micro business and advertised that to
Yeah.
the community. So anyway, there was is not knowing how to run as the concept, and through that 2-day course, getting exposure to, oh, there is a way of doing it properly, like doing a deadlift properly or a push up
Right.
properly.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And to be honest, this is terrible, but like, I've been doing this for a while. Strength, I've also, I guess should be ashamed to say this, but I've like shied away from coaching running a lot myself, right? Like, especially, my background with running for the most part was in the army, and there's no real good coaching there. It's just like being yelled at and forced to do this thing. And like, I actually grew to hate it at some point. Right. And, um,
That was then.
I would say,
Now it's all different there, actually.
oh, really? Yeah, so I saw, um, through on your yeah, it had to have been on your Instagram,
Mm,
you working with the military, working with the army, actually.
yeah.
What was that? Was this like a little, like, clinic you were doing, like, workshop?
As of, I think, close to 5 years ago now, Dr. Romanov and his son Severin, who are post method, they reached out to me
Mhm.
and said, do you want to help us help train the army, essentially? Because in 2020, the army adopted post method into their field manual, their holistic health and fitness field manual, as a
Okay.
method of instruction, essentially. So they have a chapter in there dedicated just to running technique. So chapter 7 and the FM 7-22. So as of late now,
Nice.
soldiers should know how to run based on at least those instructions there. And then we're helping cascade that through the whole force by training certain
That's
units
awesome.
all around. And that last thing you saw, I think that was at Drill Sergeant Academy. That was in April.
Oh, okay. That's super cool. Yeah, it's about time, honestly. It's actually just as I was ETSing that field manual, the holistic ISA, I don't even know the name of it,
Right.
but that what you just talking about there, right, was just I think just about to come out. Obviously, I'm like going into terminal leave at this point. I don't give a shit. I
Yeah.
checked out.
Yeah.
But that's good to know because my day in the army and my business partner Zach's day in the army, it was like it would like you say just don't don't be weak and just keep running, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, it was stupid, honestly, like, especially as I went through college and learned more and more fitness and everything. I was just like, man, we were doing some dumb shit and doing it all wrong in the military. So no wonder so many people got hurt doing stuff, right?
Exactly.
So that's awesome that that you were able to do that. So are you like traveling around to like different army bases and everything, getting to like do these seminars?
Yeah, so we've done, or I've been to with them, to a good handful now. Anywhere from like Fort Bliss to Fort Carson, Fort Stewart, Fort Jackson, like you saw in the video. A whole bunch of posts all around now.
Nice,
So, and then
nice.
I turn around and use the same model and help out our local people here. So the Idaho National
Yeah.
Guard, Air National Guard,
Okay.
all kinds of groups now too.
Awesome. That's super cool. I
Thank you.
love that.
Thank you.
It's about time that the army got their shit together with that stuff and started actually getting people that know what the hell they're doing to write these field manuals and train soldiers on how to be fit.
There we go.
So, uh, awesome. So, audacious fitness, audacious running. You kind of have like a mantra, right? So I'm make sure I don't quote this wrong. Be audacious, live free.
You got it.
Is that right? Yeah. Where does that come from? Like, what's that mean to you? Like, how did that come about?
It came out of 2020, I think, that whole experience, 2020, 2021, and the whole ordeal we all went under that those 2 years, and
Yeah.
realizing that
Yeah. Oh,
our freedoms were under attack.
mhm.
I wrote down my website 4 freedoms, similar to what like FDR did back in the Depression. The freedom
Yeah.
of nutrition, freedom of movement, freedom from pain and disease, and freedom of thought. And I think all those were under attack. And I wanted to
Mhm.
show the world that, okay, we're a location. I'm a person helping people achieve those four freedoms, at least with this service, this business, right?
Right.
By delivering essentially the CrossFit methodology, nutrition and fitness, right? And
Yeah.
those are exactly defined, right? And we're just carrying that out day to day from class to class, session to session. And if people could understand that's the reason why these gyms, these places exist, and not just looking good, then I think that's a higher level of looking at things, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I like that, and it's interesting. I think, yeah, that was a rough time
Uh-huh.
for especially for gym owners. At the time, I wasn't a gym owner. I was actually a paramedic,
Oh,
which was interesting in and of itself, right? Being on the ambulance during all that when that kicked off. But I think, I guess the silver lining to that whole thing and the goodness that came out of that was people are a lot more aware of a lot more health conscious, right? And a lot more focused on overall wellness, health, fitness, everything. And it's funny because, yeah, these gyms, I had several friends that owned gyms during this. They were forced to shut down and all this. And it like, in a way, it kind of showed everyone like, no, this is actually super important. Like this is what's going to prevent you from having these risk factors, right? That everyone's now super aware of because of COVID or whatever.
right,
And that I think all the whole like fitness is healthcare, or like, and like kind of movement, or saying, at least that's when I became a lot more aware of it, sort of came out of that. And was a big driving factor in my own career with my own business and now gym and everything, the serve wellness side of things. So I have the CrossFit side and then we have the serve wellness side.
nice.
Um, because it after being on the ambulance, right, and being so reactive to everything, I was like, I want to be proactive. I want to help people be proactive.
Yes.
Um, in their wellness. It's been really well received, and I think this market and this industry is really taking off post COVID because of just basically, yeah, those freedoms being stripped away, but at the same time highlighting the importance of what we're doing here, right? So
Exactly.
there's a bit of a tangent, I know, but that's super cool. The four freedoms thing and like all that that I don't know resonated with me. That's really awesome.
Did you get to see the logo they have of that rescue buoy?
No, I mean, is it what's on your Instagram, the
Yeah.
little like thumbnail?
Yeah. And so it's on the website too. There's a bigger
Yeah.
version, but you can see how it's that rescue
Okay.
buoy. And I took that from Greg's oats analogy or metaphor, however you will call it.
Oh, okay.
And then in the middle of that,
Yeah.
I just had these little icons that represented those four freedoms.
That's super cool. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I love that. So emphasizing that independence and like the four freedoms, but obviously you started with the CrossFit methodology, and like the functional movement side of things
Yep.
is obviously huge within our methodology. And then just emphasizing that independence, like healthy living, right? For kind of like life for the lifespan. Do you have any with your specific coaching style or approach to it? What differentiates, I guess, Audacious Fitness, Audacious Running from like your standard sort of CrossFit thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I'm following as best I can to the original intention of the programming. So almost 3 days on, one day off, and 2 days on. All that, what we learned at L1.
Yeah.
And giving the best experience, the best GPP training possible, right? To just our local
Yeah.
populace here, my neighbors and whatnot. A layer beneath that, though, is how we onboard and progress people along the way in their journey. So I have a system called the
Okay.
level method, and it's a assessment and progression system that I get to use for everyone here when they start. And I think that's one of the questions about like how people start with us. I think that was one of your questions.
Uh-huh.
When someone's referred to me to start, I take them through one-on-ones first, and everyone gets assessed with 15 different categories of strength and conditioning, flexibility, and as well. But those 15 categories are coalesced into finding like everyone's average or overall fitness level. And it's assigned a certain color, like in jujitsu, like a belt. And
Okay.
once everyone's gone through one on one with me first to find their overall fitness level and their individual category levels, then they have the opportunity to join the groups then. And within the group
Okay.
training, the classes is we have the main workout of the day, right, on the TV monitor. And
Mhm.
underneath that, all the scaling options, if you will. All the scaling options are tailored to their overall color, their level. And so if
Oh,
they're like
okay.
a yellow color level belt, whatever, and they're gonna triangulate to that yellow scaling option first I typed out, and then we
Mhm.
could based on what's called level considerations, figure out what they're good at one movement here and when not as good as in the one movement, we can go up and down from there, and then
Okay.
find the right option for that day to get the stimulus that I'm intending them to do. So
Okay.
that's from day to day.
That's awesome. How many well, let me ask you, do you have a jiu-jitsu background? Is that where that kinda came from?
So I personally did not create the level method. It came out of another coach
Oh,
in Orange County, that where I came from actually,
okay.
of all the world. So he, with his affiliate and all his clients at his gym, thought that he actually came in Army too, actually. So he was like, there
Okay.
was no program system thing in the current iteration then of CrossFit and the functional fitness world. So
Mhm.
he started drawing from all these different worlds and then put them all into one big package or a map and these progression of levels all the way across to from beginner to essentially elite. And
Okay.
then he's tested it with all them, gathered all the data, and started licensing it out. So I'm paying a monthly license for that to use their system.
Okay.
Yeah, jujitsu in terms of me personally, I've done a few years of it, so I'm a blue belt now, whatever. I
Nice.
see the parallel, obviously, that
Yeah.
is there.
I'll have to look into I actually hadn't heard of that. I feel like maybe I should who is it that came up with it?
His name is Nathan Holiday, and then now
Okay.
he's based
Not familiar.
in New Mexico, I believe, or in California back there.
Okay.
One of those two states now, still.
Okay. I that's super cool though, but it's because I think, you know, the one of the issues I had with CrossFit, especially at OG CrossFit, was the sort of the RX or die mentality, right? It's like having something like the level system or a belt system in place.
Mhm.
Like, all right, here's a good jumping off point, and like, all right, yeah, maybe you can pull a little bit from being a blue, you know, the blue belt side of things, or but maybe you're doing a little bit of white belt stuff too. And but like, at least we have a jumping off point
Right.
to like ensure that you hit the stimulus, right? You know, and it's easy to blame the members or whatever, like, oh, arcs or die. And but like for a long time, OG Cross, that was the mentality that was sort of force fed down people's throat, and like your only options were like RX and then everything else. And they kind of like presented it that way too, right? And
Right.
it was I feel like, and I hope that we continue down this road as a methodology that we're getting away from that a little bit, but you still see it,
I
you
mean,
know, sometimes.
I would envision that back then when Greg was first working with people one on one and all those gyms he was at, he was actually like taking them through these simple progressions or small progressions, eventually get into these bigger movements, right? Maybe in the one
Yeah.
on one environment, it's way easier to to assess someone first where they're at, like,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
then over their journey in that relationship, they obviously improve. And then
Mhm.
to finally, is that scaling, that article he wrote, scaling professional training, right? So going from
Yeah,
one-on-ones to twos to threes to fours, and by that point, he's been training for so many years or months, they kind of know how to do things. So it's easier to kind of distribute your attention to everyone, you know,
sure.
and everyone kind of knows where they're at, where all their movements and whatnot. So it's easier to kind of just throw on a workout, saying, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do today," and find what works for you. Maybe, but back then,
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I think, yeah, on a one-on-one, like you said, like on a one-on-one basis, that would definitely be a lot easier. Actually, one-on-one, that's kind of where my background, I got into the CrossFit group thing later, and now I kind of reverted back to my business partner really handles the group side of things, and I really run our like PT program. It's where I'm comfortable. It's what I'm honestly I'm better at it than the group fitness thing. I tend to be one of those coaches that can get easily sucked into one person, right? When I
yeah,
got 20 people, I'm like, and you're like really close to this thing, like, because that's my background, right?
right,
Where, you know, when you're one on one, we can spend 10 minutes working on this one part of your clean or whatever it is,
yep,
right? And like, it's not fair or right to do that in a group setting.
yep.
But,
I think another layer to
uh,
using the system is that
uh-huh.
we do periodic assessments throughout the year. So we've been doing
Okay.
like 3 or 4 2 or 3 week reassessments of the whole group all together at once throughout the year. And I could see trends. I could see our progress over the year. Like I'll get
Uh-huh.
a gym avatar kind of report, like of all the 15 categories, where do we as an average sit? And I get to see our growth or decline in some of those categories. I get to now program for the next cycle based on that. So I think it's a
Yeah,
cool
that's good.
measuring stick and report to the public. Like I've been posting on my blog, like this is us since 2019, essentially. Look at it, where
Yeah.
we are. These are the results.
That's awesome. Yeah, so now your members and clients have this tangible thing to be like, "Oh, this shit is working,"
Right.
right? And so that's good. Like doing it's a monster, but like doing your own programming, like definitely probably the better way to go because like you said, you can take something, you can get that feedback
Mhm.
and be like, okay, here's where we have a deficit as a whole. Like we need to adjust the programming. Whereas like, unfortunately, I think a lot of gym owners, they spread themselves too thin and they're like, all right, I'm just gonna pay Mayhem. I'm gonna get their programming and I'm just gonna follow that blindly because I don't have the bandwidth to deal, which I get.
Yeah.
But so we do our own not me, our head coach does it, but we do our own programming in house too. I think Bill, if you have the ability as a gym owner and as a coach, like it's definitely the way to go. You have so much more control over your clients' results, and also too, like not to pick on Mayhem, but
Yeah.
like that maybe that works for one community, but like that's not you can't like that's not going to be the right thing for every single box across the country, right?
Yeah.
And like you have to be a lot more customized, personalized, I guess, which is
Yeah.
that's my I guess my whole one-on-one sort of background coming through, right?
You
Is
got it.
the being personalizing everything.
It's a better experience for everyone involved, I think.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. All right, so let's get into talking about like more about the Audacious, the running side of
Sounds
things,
good.
right? Because again, like as a methodologist, as coaches, and just I think there is a huge gap in knowledge there. And so Audacious running focuses on running technique and injury prevention, correct?
Yes,
Like
sir.
that's a big part of it. So can you kind of go through that and explain like the importance of like the running mechanics and how they can impact your performance and really just your longevity?
Yeah. Will do. To give you background, so after I found the CrossFit endurance course that was using Poe's method to teach
Uh-huh.
CrossFitters how to do endurance stuff better, and then primarily
Right.
running. So I practiced on myself, like I said earlier, and then I delved a little deeper. I actually went directly to Poe's method and got certified to them. And then from there, I just was using all the people around me in my life I could find and use them as test subjects to practice my skill a bit too.
Yeah.
And when I decided to move up here, I realized that I was the only one certified to do this thing when I moved here. So I just started to plant my flag and say, "Hey, I'm a specialist around here. I'm an expertise and expert, and I could help
Yeah.
your communities out." So I reached out to all the affiliates around here, all the other kind of other gyms around, run clubs, PTs, chiros, foot doctors, running shoe stores, and said that, hey, I have a specialty. Let me come and talk to your staffs and then your people you're helping, right? Patients, clients.
Hmm.
And yeah, started doing that little one by one, networking that way, developing these referral networks essentially. Now it comes down to
Okay. Yeah.
now knowing that what 80% of people who run every year get hurt in some capacity, right? Most of it lower limb MSK. So anywhere from low back to the bottom of the foot in some fashion hurting. And it stems
Yeah.
from the majority of the population not approaching running as a skill. And one how we can look at it is like, okay, if I join a powerlifting club or Olympic weightlifting club, I'm going to start with a PVC pipe, right? Or just a bar and then practice the technique
Yep.
of the 3 lifts or 2 lifts well before I increase the weight on it. And if I join a running club then, and that same kind of logic, they're essentially putting 315 on me to do a back squat immediately first day because they're going out three,
That's
five
true.
miles, 7 hours
Yeah.
at a time without even addressing how to do the thing, the actual running movement. They just say go, just like your drill on that'd be like that
Yeah.
for you. So we're
Yep. Yep.
yeah. So what we have is a systematic way of teaching it now, just like teaching the deadlift. There's points of performance and faults, right? Or the standard and the deviations. And then having the
Hmm.
skill to teach C correct, right? And like in the L2, teach C correct and demonstrate the skill to anyone we're helping, one or group, right? And by doing that now knowing how to truly teach it and then knowing how to use the body properly in relation to the laws of nature, then we get away from those pain and injuries and then improve the ceiling of performance.
Okay.
The cause of a lot of the pain injuries is from thinking that we need to use our muscles to propel ourselves forward if we're running forward. And the point is we're not trying to use our muscles or not
Which
and not
makes
trying to use muscles.
right. But remember, I've seen you talk about this on your social media. The first time it caught my attention because I was like, again, I'm not a running coach, right? And so I'm like, well, yeah, you do use your muscles to run. Yeah, no, go into that some more because like once I watched it all, I was like, I see what he's saying.
We'll do. We're not trying to use the muscles in whatever movement we're doing. We will let the muscles respond and service the movement we're doing and service our body weight. One thing we always go back to or ask people in their minds is like, do they know what Newton's first law of motion is? Or do you know?
Hmm. Yeah, what stays in motion what continues in motion until acted upon by an outside force, right? Like
Right, right.
that's I'm reaching back to high school now, but yeah.
You got it. Yep. Now the very last part of that law, right, is unless acted upon by an external or outside force.
Mm,
The follow-up question when we ask someone that is, so do you consider your muscles an external or internal part of you,
mhm. Yeah, I would think internal, I guess,
right?
might be
To
my
your body?
initial first thought.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then what kind of forces they exert then, external or internal forces?
external, right? Like, I mean, because they're putting force on the outside. I don't know. Am I getting it right? Am I way off here?
Or if you just consider muscular contractions just on you, in you, they're internal,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now, based on that law of motion, it's like if the muscles are internal and if it's external forces that'll cause the change in an object state, it can't be that
Uh-huh.
then. It's got to be something else
Right.
external to us if we're considering us as the model. And then so the external
Yeah,
force
okay.
turns out to be this capital letter G of gravity.
Yep.
And now we have to learn what the proper body position needs to be for that specific movement in order to interact with gravity the best, to consume gravity the best
Okay.
for the movement we want. And that's why we teach first,
Okay.
the running pose.
Which is, and that's the pose you mentioned it a few times, but that's what pose method is, right? Is
Correct.
like here is an analogy would be like here's your setup position for a snatch. You're starting with here's your setup position for running,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And now build there. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. Just like teaching you how to do a push-up, I'm gonna start you with front lean rest first, and then telling you how
Right.
to change from front lean rest down to the chaturanga in yoga, right? The same down position, and then teaching you how to truly do the
Yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and step by step. And then the learning and training practice of it is um, earning that skill based on your execution of that technique in the moment, from step to step to step to step.
Okay. How so with the pose method and like you're kind of like your whole thing, someone like me, right? Or maybe even worse off than me, that just like their whole running has just been like, just figure it out as you go. Like, like you said, drill sergeants being like, just fucking do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. How long usually is that where you start seeing like real progress with someone? Because like back to the Olympic lifts. I mean, it take for a snatch, right? Can take forever. It feels like for someone to like start to click. What's kind of like an average timeline you start seeing like a beginner to, more intermediate level runner, I guess.
I mean, to answer that question, we have to define what beginner intermediate would mean. So we have to be like kind
True.
of
Okay.
tangible or objective in the numbers. But in
Hmm.
terms of like first teaching someone in the moment for that hour, for example, you can get them to
Hmm.
change pretty immediately. Like their subjective thoughts and feelings and emotions and sensations with running is overnight because they
Okay.
do not try to force themselves forward anymore, and they let themselves free fall forward, and all they gotta do is pull their foot from the ground, which is opposite of push, like we were taught growing up as kids,
Yeah.
and the whole experience
Yeah.
has changed, like, the effort level goes down completely, the lightness in their steps and everything increases, that's the subjective layer changes, and then with that, because they're spending more time on the ground sorry, less time on the ground, right,
Yeah.
then their actual running times, like time mile, time 400, those actually be faster because they're exerting less energy. Their stamina can
Okay.
be sustained longer, endurance can be sustained longer because they're exerting less energy.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, on it, so you get, I guess, in a way, the results with the running side of things are probably, like you said, more immediate and quicker progressing than someone who's never snatched before or cleaned or something like that.
I think it's dependent on the person, obviously. If they're a motor
Yeah.
moron, it's going to take them a little bit longer to go through the process. But
Yeah.
really,
Shoot. Okay.
if you just consider running as, again, it's starting from the pose, you free fall,
Hmm.
and then you pull your foot up to arrive in the pose on the other side. If they could execute that one step, that one post fall pull cycle correctly to the standard, then you've improved their running.
Uh-huh.
You've improved their running that one step by 100%, essentially, right? Kind of.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then their job is, can you do the two steps and then 3 and 4? So they're really improving exponentially from that on out, as long as they're focused on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
true action, what they need to be doing.
Okay. So I guess from a CrossFit group fitness coach perspective,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That would that be your thing? Like, all right, I got this 20 people in front of me here. We do a really bad job overall at coaching running.
Yep.
Let me just get people to do this, right? So
Exactly.
Murph coming up, right? They could almost immediately get at least a little bit better, have that light bulb moment, hopefully. Most people, which is focusing on that one thing.
Right. So if someone's gone through any kind of training where they've like learned from me, for example, or some other specialist like me already, they can learn again
Hmm.
what the points of performance are. They can know what the faults are, and then be able to teach everyone in the group in that specific warm up portion of the workout. Just
Hmm.
the highlights of it, I guess, because it's a big
Yeah.
45-minute workout at least, right?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can just tell them, hey, this is the pose. Teach the correct. Have them all in rows or whatever, just doing that. and then put them against a bunch of uprights or wall and have them free fall into it, saying, "Hey, this is what you need to do to run, free fall, let yourself go." And then another drill is just having them break contact with the ground with their foot, pull their foot up under the hip into the pose, and just do that on both sides, however many
Mhm.
reps, and then start integrating that into short little runs outside outside the bay door on the pavement there.
Yeah.
Just a few runs just to see implement the body position to pose, falling from there and all pulling the foot from the ground. And getting that to think that way, at least try to feel lighter for as long as they can, saves them on that first
Yeah.
800 meters of the first mile, maybe, so they can sustain maybe the
Yeah.
rest of the workout just a little better, maybe, right? And then
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
that's just the micro example of like a class workout for Murph. But like, if they really want to delve into it, then it's like, here's some progressions now. These are all these drills you can start doing to have your athletes, have your clients know these concepts and know what the technique is. And then obviously you can scale up over time, right? And it gives
Yeah.
having this knowledge now of how to actually progress running means you have a better way of scaling running for people now. Like if they're only capable of running 320 yards at 180 cadence, focus on pulling the whole time that long only, and that's only like a minute and
Mhm.
40 seconds, for example, that means their limited skill is just
Yeah.
that much, or the max is that much, right? Then we need to do training and drills and
Right.
practice to push that threshold out farther next time we do it. And then you know where they're at, how these can scale workouts from now on out.
I guess it's really just reframing our thinking of like running is no different than any other skill that we do in the gym, right? And so getting better at it is going to essentially follow the same sort of path of, like you said, like assessment. And then from there, we just, once we know where you're starting at, this is how we program out a plan for you, right? To get better. So,
That's it.
um, I love it. So pose method, we talked about that, and that is its own little it's like that's its own certification as well, right? Just like CrossFit
It
or
is.
any of these other certifications.
Yep.
Yeah. How long is it? How long of a like course or certification is it?
It's an online course now at this point. All the
Okay.
lecture slides, the actual Dr. Romanov lecturing in front of people is recorded on there as well. There's videos of demonstrations of all the drills and exercises that are pertinent to helping someone improve their running technique.
Uh-huh.
And there's a bunch of like basically follow along videos, instructional videos are in there as well as part of the slideshow, and that can be done over a whole weekend if someone wanted to. But it's also just
Yeah.
at your will, at your own pace on the computer, and then part of that is it's trying to practice it. So on your own or with a group or at your gym, trying to help out your people, just kind of sprinkling in these little drills and exercises that you've learned along the way in the course that helps you obviously learn it
Yeah.
better. And then so if you find someone like me, I'll show up to your location. I'll train you guys how to do the thing.
Yeah.
Like I'll essentially L1 and L2 it for all you guys at the whole staff, so you can now turn around and teach your guys like the next day better, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be, yeah, that's awesome. And that is that something you've started to do, like with, you said, with like other gyms around?
Yep,
I think you mentioned that earlier,
yep,
right?
yep,
You just going to some of the other affiliates.
yep.
That's awesome. Has it been pretty well received by like the CrossFit community as a whole?
I
Do others realize that we're really bad at it?
I think through the years, affiliate owners and coaches who've been around, they know what CrossFit Endurance is. They probably know what Post Method is through that, and they've probably taken
Hmm.
some of the running courses that HQ has, like the online running course or like the previous CrossFit Endurance courses, whatnot. But I think at this point, because I've delved so deep into it, and now SME for them, I think I have a higher degree or deeper level understanding of how to deliver it comparatively maybe to existing coaches around. So I'm trying to like really
Yeah.
help them understand like you're just like one person away from the actual guy who founded it. So I could help you out even more, you know? They
Yeah.
it's well received. Yes, they're trying to do it. I think they're trying to implement it, but I'm like, maybe you could do a little better. So let me help you out, dear. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're gonna be, I know you saw it. You're gonna be like Shane Farmer, Dark Horse
yeah, yeah.
Rowing. Yeah, yeah. Like, so yeah, you're on your way, man. You're gonna be the Shane Farmer of running.
We'll see. Thank you.
Hey, so you mentioned earlier, like, there's like some pretty common injuries and stuff with running,
Hmm.
especially when you don't know what the hell you're doing. Is there a method you have to assess and address that, or do you just like refer out to a physical therapist? How do you do that? How do you handle that?
So the laundry list of injuries and pains that someone might experience with running, I'll just kind of list them off, right? Plantar fasciitis,
Hmm.
Achilles tendonitis, ankle sprains perhaps, shin splints,
Yeah,
which might lead to stress fractures, which might lead to compartment syndrome,
yeah,
and any kind of like calf tightness, stiffness, strains, tears, maybe, I don't know. Knee pain,
yeah,
general runner's knee, people call it, right?
Mhm.
IT band syndrome, hip pains in terms of specifically like the femoral head, just like even fracturing at some point, right? And then even low back
Uh,
pain with that. If there's any more, I can't think of right now. Like there are.
yeah.
Anyway, most of those are soft tissue injuries.
Mhm.
It could be, yeah, a PT might diagnose one of these things to a local runner, and then it's taken through the process of getting back to normal, right? Like calming the fire, putting the fire out, essentially, right? And let's say they're
Right.
back to normal, then that PT can refer them to me to work on their techniques so that that issue doesn't arise anymore, right? In general, though, when I'm taking someone through that process of learning how to do this, is I have to tell them that these injuries that they might be experiencing are mostly soft tissue injuries. These soft tissues that we have, joints, your tendons and ligaments, right? Their primary way of doing work is eccentric, quick eccentric, instantaneous eccentric work. So being like a spring, storing elastic energy and letting go
Mhm.
and having free energy out of that, free motion out of that. And because we don't know how to run, or majority of people don't know how to run, they're going to overstride, putting their foot down in front of them, which stops
Yeah.
motion. And that creates longer time on support. Then their soft tissues, which are meant to take instantaneous eccentric loads, are actually prolonging their eccentric loading, which inflame the
Okay.
tissues, do opposite of their intended purpose. And that's why those pain injuries arise. And then so again, to teach them how to run properly, get into the running pose and fall and pull, then the foot makes contact nearly under them, under their general center mass.
Yeah.
And then which cuts down on loading their support time, which lets their soft tissues, the rest of their body do what they need to do and nothing more. And then that's how we can ultimately prevent injuries and also heal injuries back to normal as well. We do
That makes sense.
simple, small bouncing movements or eccentric, plyometric movements, right? To get those things to do what they need to do to heal them back as part of the process.
Okay. Yeah. So just you heal them by making them do it right, basically.
Yeah,
Like it, and then it kind of self-corrects from there.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, so can you, I mean, obviously, I know you have like you follow like the CrossFit methodology and stuff, but you also have like you have a full-blown like running 101 program, right?
Oh yeah.
Which I know we've kind of sort of touched on a little bit. What is, I guess if someone signs up for that or wants to do that, what can they expect? How does that go through? Is it, you use a level system with that as well, or is it a little bit different?
Going back to the PT referral example, so someone gets a runner's injured, a PT
Mm-hmm.
does, and gets them back to normal. PT can send that patient to
Mm-hmm.
me to be my client. So I'll take them through a running technique assessment, which means I'll take them through with my eyes to see how they're running and also on video. So we do video analysis of their running
Okay.
technique, just like if you were to take someone to video analysis of their snatch, right? Bar path, the body
Yep.
position, all that stuff. Then we do it with running as well. So we
Mm-hmm.
break down their running pose, how they're falling, and then how they're pulling the foot from the ground. And then also some timing with that too. And once they get a good picture of how they're actually doing it, which they are not perceiving that they're doing that at all, right? Then it's my job then as
Uh-huh.
the teacher and coach to take them to learn what those invariable elements are, what pose, fall, and pull are. And in that introduction of the rest of the hour, essentially, they get to um, do those things, right? To learn what that
Right.
element is and then implement into a short run, learn the next element, put in the short run, try to integrate it, so on and so forth in that short hour essentially. And then, like I said
Okay.
earlier, that changes virtually 180 right then and there. That the second video I'll take
Mhm.
them in that session is gonna be like white, black and white, or like night and day.
Okay.
From there, from that initial assessment introduction, then we decide what the training plan is gonna be like. If should they want to focus on this for like a hyper focus period of time before they do anything else, right? And
Okay.
what's proven, it's like up to 6 weeks of focused work, focused practice on this. Then after that point, they should be like ready to go. So it's a
Gotcha.
6 week training, 6 week running technique training program. Basically 3 days a week, I'll meet with them and then
Mhm.
we'll do warm ups to get their bodies supposed to be moving properly, like getting their elasticity component up and all that. And then going through specific running technique drills and we'll apply that in short intervals. And then that's 3 days a week at the track, essentially a track or a park. I just have them run
Nice.
around me as I'm queuing them up, correcting them up and pushing them or slowing
Yeah.
down whenever they need it based on their technique. And that
Okay.
progression from week 1 to week 6 is all based on using the metronome as a tool or keeping their mind on what their cadence is like, their step cadence. So we have them try running at a minimum of 180 steps per minute or pulls per minute, like I call it, and then progress them
Mhm.
up to higher and higher, quicker and quicker cadences by the end of 6 weeks. So that when they're needing to run really fast, they have the ability to do that. They have the higher gear, for example, if you want to call it that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, we progress from very short timed intervals to or it's just kind of longer intervals at the very end, at the end of 6 weeks. And at that point, maybe their running technique is so solid down pat that the foundation's set that they can do any other kind of race training after that they want. And it'll go back into the
Okay.
group class and do the whatever prescribed thing of that day, you know?
Okay. So you do have like I don't know, like a, I guess progression programs specific for running too.
Yeah.
Like someone wants to like have a midlife like me, I have a midlife crisis and decide I want to do an Ironman, right? Like we could go through like the running 101 and then like go from there. Kind of, I mean, maybe not indefinitely, but
Yeah,
you do have other stuff. Cool.
exactly.
Does it get really sports specific too, I guess, in the sense like so the Iron Man thing, that would be I would assume a different path than someone who is doing more like I don't know what other running like a 400-meter sprint or something like that. Or is there enough overlap that it doesn't you kind of progress either way?
The last thing you said, yeah, because
Yeah, okay.
running is running, doesn't matter what distance or speed you're executing it at. It's
Uh-huh.
can you in the moment focus on the right action of pull? And it goes down to like, yeah, what are you focused on? Or how focused are you? And if your mind
Okay.
starts to wander to different things, like, oh, my water, my electrolytes, or my food, and the next thing, it detracts from your ability to stay off the ground as long as you can. And so the
Okay.
training program is a progression, getting you to focus longer and longer and longer on what you need to be doing. And, like, for example, the Ironman, like you just said, like, I helped out a local triathlete here, and she's a coach as well, and she, reached out to me through a local massage therapist for help with her shins were hurting actually from running, and she was training for
Okay.
the Kona Ironman, and that was in August we met, and she ran
Mm-hmm.
the Kona Ironman, and she actually won her age group finally after however many years. Just by giving her a little more efficiency on
Awesome.
her run, she was able to sustain longer and
Yep.
better on her run and then actually win her age group, and her shin issue, right, was resolved in the process as well. Yeah, so it
Okay.
applies to anyone's running really, any sports.
Okay.
There's football players I've helped, baseball players, softball players, other ball sports are there, were field sports basically.
Okay, awesome. And then since you do the programming, you feel like you probably do a little bit more like in your CrossFit group class, right? Are you like a little bit more running centric overall, or do you try to keep it pretty, evenly mixed for everyone like that may not care that much about running, right? Or are you like, do people kind of know like, yeah, no, this CrossFit, this gym, I know you're not affiliated anymore, but
Yeah.
like this gym, like they're really, really running centric, right? How do you handle that, I guess,
Not
with your
necessarily.
programming?
Nope. I'm not
Yeah.
like programming running centric or anything like that, or like other gyms are
Okay.
like strength focused kind of thing, right? No, I'm just
Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
kind of almost purist methodology where like it's just GPP
Yeah.
balance across all
Okay.
those realms of fitness. So yeah,
Okay. And then just having the ability to, if they want to work on it one-on-one or whatever,
yeah,
then you're the guy to go to for that.
yeah.
So
And like in the warm up portions of a workout where there is running in it, then I have the ability of doing these drills to prepare them even better for the running we'll do that day.
true.
Yeah, compared to, I would assume a lot of the other gyms around or coaches around, they just go, all right, run a 400-meter, come back, and that's
100%.
that's the thing we're doing later anyway. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and and I can't like talk like I'm guilty of it too. Like we're guilty of it here as well, right?
yeah, yeah, no problem.
It's it's not our thing, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Give me a 400-meter lap and then we'll come in and, do whatever else.
Yeah.
Um, so where do you see the future, Audacious Fitness, Audacious Running in like, 5, 10 years? You have anything like new things on the horizon that are coming?
Let's go with the running part first. Is I want to be
Okay.
able to tap more into the law enforcement military community here. So I have a foothold with
Okay.
our local sheriff's department in the county. So I'm helping them out, training their academy students essentially, like teaching them running in
Hmm.
their actual academy, so that when they go through academy, they won't get hurt and it's recycle and all that. Helping with that right now.
Yeah.
Now I've kind of spread it out to like the rest of the state and other police departments. It's great.
Hmm.
If I get to the fire departments around here, like I did a little course for the local fire department here in the city for one of their academies. I think they've taken to it. I think they're trying to implement it on their own. But if I can get their other departments, that'd be awesome as well. And then be like a
Yeah.
constant person SME for like our RE arm and our Air National Guard as well. If I can do that more regularly, awesome as well.
Nice.
And with that is traveling around as well, like on my own more too. So being the
Yes.
Shane Farmer for running essentially,
Yeah.
around for all these gyms and businesses around. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. But for the gym side, it's
Uh-huh.
with the population growing here, it's yeah, looking for probably a space here next few months for more area essentially.
Nice.
Now I have a cool luxury already
Yeah.
where the property I'm on, I can build as well. So I can build another structure outside of this too, but it just takes a little more capital and all that, right?
Yeah.
And to have something already built,
Sure.
maybe to
Sure.
lease, maybe an option. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that I mean, if you can, maybe buy a gym out, right? Like that. There's I will say, there's a lot of, and maybe not in your area, in this area. There's a lot of like very tired affiliate owners, that are either getting ready, they are retiring, or they're just done doing the business thing. That's actually how we got this gym. We bought it from the previous owners. They had other careers. They didn't want to do fitness the full time. And my business partner and I are like, no, this is our thing. This is what we do full time.
Hmm.
And so it worked out really well. And then the equipment, everything's all set up for you. You're good to go, and you just come in and take over. So hopefully you can find something
Thank you.
that'll be easy for you to go for
Thank
that.
you.
So with the running thing, do you see a future like scalability, right? Like, or do you see like an online potential in the future? YouTube channel, something like that. Like, because obviously you kind of have to see, right? Like,
Yeah.
or people have to see you at least, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you just like put a PDF.
So because I'm like an SME for Pose Method first, I can say, okay, come to our official course we're holding and take the online
Uh-huh.
certification, get like me through that. And then I could
Uh-huh.
also do these in-person courses as well, right? On my own, obviously, through
Right.
here, others running.
Yeah.
And having the online course option through my thing, well, I can create my own videos through my local friends and videographers and all that. I create my own online
Yeah.
course on my website that people can sign up and pay for, right? Using my way of delivering it, right? Perhaps.
Yeah.
I've ventured into that. This one like basic little program I created a couple of years ago at least. So
Okay.
that'd be down the line, I think, as well. But that's totally an option to look
Yeah.
into scaling up, yes, in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because, like traveling's fun. Like, I mean, I did a lot of traveling in the army or whatever, and it's like cool at first, but it can also be exhausting too, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, all right, maybe if I just have this course, you're able to have like a bigger impact on people, um, without running yourself ragged, living out of a suitcase the whole time, right?
Right, and even down the line too is get my own staff of people like me around me, so I can send people out too,
True.
right?
Yeah,
Similar
and
to how
yeah,
gym
now
stuff.
you're the CEO of all these running experts, right? That's kind of like going out and about and spreading the good word about pose method and all the things.
You got it, yep, yep.
Awesome. What do you have any advice for like, so a coach or something that's like just falls in love with running, they want to become a running coach, or other fitness professionals that just want to level up their coaching in running. Do you have any advice for those people?
Okay, so the cat's out of the bag already, right? We know what running technique is. It's all online
Hmm.
everywhere for free, and books are out there available that Dr. R wrote. And
Yep.
look into those low hanging fruit resources first. Practice on your own.
Yeah.
Try to adopt it on your own as best you can, and then start teaching other people to help you learn better, obviously. And be patient with
Yeah.
the process. And if you do want to be more official and learn even deeper the reasons why and all that from straight from the horse's mouth, then obviously you could take the online course through Pose Method.
Yep.
And then should you want like the actual hand holding or the actual implementation of how to get to your people boots on the ground in the class, I can be there to help you guys out. Just reach out to me. We'll set up a whole course thing at your place and we'll do it all there. Like I said, doing the
Okay.
L1 and L2 for you guys, essentially using running as the foundation, essentially.
Yeah, love that. And then I guess so they just reach out either through your Instagram at Audacious Running
Yep.
or through your website,
Yep.
which is audaciousfitness.com, correct?
You got it. Yep. Yep.
Well, either way,
Either way. Yep.
awesome. And I'm gonna put all that in the show notes too, obviously.
Excellent,
So
Mike.
if someone does want to reach out,
Yeah.
um, they'll have all that. Cool. Is there anything else that you would like to share or put out there about your philosophy or about Audacious running or Audacious fitness before we wrap things up?
I'll say so. Audacious Fitness now is going to be the home of MetFix Boise. And
Okay.
to fill you in on what MetFix is, it essentially is the next iteration of what CrossFit was that Greg Glassman wanted to be into.
Okay.
If you remember back in 2019, it was like January 1st, 2019, the main page, main site, and the programming shifted over to this like showing old people carrying water jugs in their living room, and it was all like the
Yep.
first movement, the first workout was like a Cindy kind of thing, right? Anyway, he had taken over the website again and then programmed for like 6 months. And now he was like seeing how HQ was like shifting all the priority of like the game stuff, competition stuff, and then missing the point essentially. And so since his selling of the company in 2020, he's got into learning why it resulted in that, and then why his ousting happened or his selling of it happened because of the brouhaha with this culture, right? And just poor ways of
Right.
thinking and how science was broken. So is broken in some parts. So he delved more into that philosophy of science and all that. And then out of that came essentially a need to fill that void of a true champion to say that, sugar's bad, exercise this way, right? All that without the hands of like private equity, right? Controlling everything. So MetFix now is an affiliation program and education platform for gym owners, affiliate owners, current affiliate owners, right? To learn the deeper whys behind why we are told to eat meats and vegetables and seeds and fruit, loose, or sugar, and keeping intake levels to support exercise, not body fat. The science, the biochemistry a little bit more, the bioenergetics a little more, to give the coach, gym owner, trainer a little more oomph, confidence in delivering that message to a greater population. Like we're trying to service like seniors and kids and adaptive athletes a little more, right? From my eyes, what I've been doing here so far is like the quote unquote underserved or the forgotten, maybe.
Yeah.
So I've been helping all these seniors out, like a couple places around here, a little more. They could learn how to do squats and deadlifts and presses better. They can learn how to eat better still at 81, right? And still get
Absolutely.
10, hopefully 15 years, 20 years more out of their long lives already, right? And so Netflix is again what Emily and Greg have called it is the evolution of the revolution. So revolution was when
Okay.
CrossFit started, when he started the methodology and the website and all that, and then that was the
Yeah.
evolution of what that was. And now, so I have an affiliation with them now with that to call it Metfix Boise. And the there are now officially 100 affiliates. I think for the most part
Okay.
in, in our country, and then they have all these applications, thousands of applications from current and former and other affiliates, right? Essentially, want to slap this name
Uh,
on now, and then I think that's going to be the next wave, essentially.
okay. Yeah, and it's funny. It's there's a this last year in particular has been really interesting for for CrossFit, right? And now it's up for sale again. And obviously the rumor mill's flying about who the hell's gonna buy it and all this stuff. We're currently affiliated, but I'm not gonna lie, from a business perspective, we are definitely exploring potentially other
Yeah,
options. High Rocks is big. World Fitness Project actually reached out to us because they're wanting to start like an affiliate thing,
right.
and it's like, or do we just kind of like wait? Well, you're with Metfix now, but kind of like what you did after you de-affiliated, right? You
Yeah,
just like,
my own thing.
hey, this is my own thing, right?
Right,
My own brand, my own, not methodology, but my own,
right,
yeah, like your own thing. So
right.
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I hadn't heard about Metfix yet, so I'm definitely gonna I'll have to check that out.
Take a look.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to look into that. I gotta wrap up here. Our next class is gonna be showing up pretty soon. But thank you so much for jumping on. Super interesting. I love what you're doing. I love your philosophy on everything. So I'm excited to see where Audacious running and fitness goes. I'm gonna definitely keep an eye out for you, and hopefully, maybe someday we can get you to fly out here and get all my coaches real smart. Yeah, I would love to be able, like I said, we just bought this place a few months ago, so you know how how that can be. But yeah, I would love to get people out here to get through that. We're huge. Me and my business partner are huge into like continuing ed and paying for that for our coaches. I'm gonna keep my eyes on you, man. Awesome. Well, thanks again for jumping on, man. And again, everything about Audacious Fitness, Audacious Running will be in the show notes, and I will talk to you soon. Yep.